Excellent. So, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's 10 o'clock UK time on a Sunday evening. So that means it's time for a Wealth Warriors presentation, which is what we're going to be doing for the next few minutes. I will get through it as quickly as possible because there is a lot of material to go through. I don't want it to drag on past an hour. Um, so yeah, let's get on with it. So what is Wealth Warriors? Why are we doing what we're doing? Why are we taking extra effort and extra time to do something above and beyond what we would do normally to build online platforms? Well, I'm just going to share my screen with you, and then I shall carry on talking. So I see us as financial freedom fighters, and we can either be selfish and say we're financial freedom fighters in our own lives, for our own families, for our own loved ones, our own future generations, or we can say that we've grouped together as a community. I prefer the latter, simply because that's kind of or more in line with what I see myself doing, is not just do something for myself, but take some other people along as well to help other people become successful. So with financial freedom fighters, we are rebelling really against all of the control mechanisms that are put in place to try and stop us from becoming successful in our own lives. And most people struggle and they try to become successful, financially successful, at least once in their life. But when they get knocked back and things don't happen for them, they just give up and go back to a 9 to 5 job. At least you know how long it's going to take you to starve to death with a job. Whereas with trying to do your own thing as an entrepreneur, you might never starve to death, or it might be tomorrow. You just don't know. So most people don't really have the get up and go, the wherewithal, or the I guess the stamina to try to make a success of their finances over and over and over again, past many failures. But some of us do. And we look at those failures and we say, why do these things keep happening? Like, it's not the same thing that happens. It's not always my fault. Sometimes it is. I've made some bad decisions, but every attempt ends in failure, or almost every attempt ends in failure. And you think it's almost like there's a conspiracy out there to try to stop me from succeeding. And if you think that, then you're not very far from the truth. There is a conspiracy out there to stop you from succeeding in your own life, from breaking away from the pack and being your own boss, doing your own thing. You can be your own boss in lots of different ways as long as it's within the control mechanism that's set up to control you. If you want to do something different for yourself, your future, your loved ones, your family's future, and so on, then there are a lot of things stacked against you. Mostly what it is lack of information. Most of us don't realize what the trap is. We don't realize what the control mechanism actually looks like. So we think the world is the way it is, and that's the way it's always been, and what could possibly be wrong with the world. But when you begin to understand some of the things that are happening in your world, then you will begin to get an understanding of why the deck is stacked against us. So what can we do about this deck being stacked against us? Well, the first thing we can do, of course, is all work together. But before we get involved in that, I'm just going to give you a quick disclaimer. Nothing in this presentation is to be taken as financial or investment advice. The second thing is we are not an investment platform. We're a community. And if you do decide to invest in any of the platforms that we do promote, that are discussed in this presentation, only use the money you can afford to comfortably to lose. Carry out your own due diligence. I spend a lot of time carrying out due diligence on companies for my own benefit, for the benefit of members of the Wealth Warriors community, and for the wider community at large. It's not that difficult to do, but most people don't bother. They see something big and shiny. Oh, I can make a lot of money at this, and they get in, put all the money in it, and of course they've done no due diligence. They don't know who they're dealing with or what they're dealing with. And when the rug gets pulled and they end up losing all their money, they just think it's bad luck. It's not bad luck. I could teach somebody how to carry out due diligence in about an hour. I've written documents about it. I can send them to you. It's not that difficult to do. It just takes the willingness to do it. It takes the willingness to say, I'm not going to fall for this trap again. I'm not going to go after the latest shiny thing just because all my friends are raving about it. Okay, that's probably the worst reason, because they've had bad judgment in the past. So I'm going to do things properly this time around. And just have the courage to to do the due diligence yourself, check into things, find out the information, and don't be afraid to say, if it doesn't fit what you're looking for, walk away. I walk away from far, far more so-called businesses that I can't quite get my head around than I ever get involved with. If in doubt, don't. Okay, and it's standing us in good stead with the platforms we're involved with now. So yeah, what is the problem? Apart from apart from all the things I've spoken about so far, the biggest problem is there are just too many scams out there. So you decide you want to make some money in a in an online business, and you've got to choose which online business you're going to get involved with. And there's a high probability if you just choose one at random or choose the first half a dozen even that your friends are all recommending to you, there's a high probability you're going to get involved in a scam. I've investigated, in the last 2 years, I've investigated over 250 businesses and online opportunities and so on. Okay, of those I've endorsed less than 20. I've got involved with less than 10. And right now I'm working with five, the five that I consider to be the best, not just for me, but for the community. So if you just choose at random, then there's a high probability you're going to end up with a scam. And a scam is deliberately set up or set up to deliberately take your money and run away. And it doesn't matter what they're offering. It could be gold mines, it could be contracts, it could be who knows what else they're offering. Very often they don't tell you. They just say, give us this much money for 5 days and we'll give you back more money. Okay, that's fine. But what are you doing to actually make more money? And the answer is probably they're taking it off of the next person that joined after you to try and convince you that there's money to be made so you can go out there and rope all your friends into it. Okay, so if you can't see where the money's coming from, well, it's up to you. I'm not going to tell you not to do it, but I wouldn't do it. If I can't see where the money is being made, I'm not interested because it's likely to be a scam. And there are just too many of them out there. The second problem is that not all businesses are scams, but also not every single business that's set up succeeds. Most businesses, 95% of businesses fail. This is just as true of businesses that are set up in your hometown, bricks and mortar businesses, what some people refer to as real businesses. They will fail. 95% of them fail. When I say fail, it means that they don't, by 5 years, they're either not in business anymore or they're not making any money. And there's a limit to how long as a business owner you can keep working 70, 80, 90 hours a week and not be making any money. At that point, most people say, if it's not working after 5 years, then what am I doing? So they're not bad businesses. They just aren't set up properly. Not everybody knows how to run a business, and it's amazing. You see, I've known this all my life, and I've taught many companies, many CEOs and managing directors and so on. I've taught them this along the years that just because you have a business doesn't mean it's going to succeed. Just because somebody set up a business doesn't mean they know what they're doing. And there's a high probability they don't. So first of all, get started and then find out what you're doing. Learn, study, okay? And most people don't do that, particularly in online businesses. They run with what their good idea is, only to find out that it's an untenable idea. It doesn't work. There's far more involved than what they're doing. The first few problems they come up against is enough to make them fold and close their doors. Very often they'll close the doors and not give their money back, not give your money back to you. Some of them do. I ran a business that I took it over from somebody who had set it up, and it was running poorly. And I made sure that everybody who'd invested in that company got their money back. So none of our customers were left without their money, but that was hard work to do that. And it's very rare that a company goes to the trouble of doing that. When they're going to shut up their shop, they just take the money and go. The third thing that's the problem is that businesses get shut down by regulators and government departments. And the way this works is that you have a business startup, maybe it's run out of Dubai, for example, but a few people in Canada get involved and they misunderstood what they were getting involved in, and they started complaining, or the company even changed the rules maybe, and people started complaining, and they complained to the local SEC, Security and Exchange Commission. And when there's enough complaints about that Securities and Exchange Commission, somebody will say, I'm going to look into this, and they'll look into that business and they won't understand it. I can guarantee they won't understand it. And they'll say, okay, now this business, I don't understand it, but it looks a bit like this other business that we shut down 6 months ago. So I'm going to say it's kind of the same. So we're going to shut this one down as well. Okay, and what happens is they tell the company you can't do business anymore. Maybe just in Canada, but of course the message goes out you can't do business anymore, and the company says, okay, well, I haven't got 5 years and several $1 million to fight this. So and all the while we're not in business, so I'm gonna shut up shop and go. Whether they're a good business or not doesn't come into it. If they get told to shut down, most of them just don't fight it and they get shut down. So our problem is that we've got to identify these three categories of businesses before we ever get involved. And that's my job. That's what I do. And some of you are good at that as well. Now, the challenge is it doesn't matter how much money you make in online businesses, you cannot become truly free. If you're dependent just on one company, for your income for the rest of your life, and hopefully to pass on to future generations in your family. If it's just one business, you can't be financially free. Anything can happen to that one business, and probably will. How many online businesses do you know that have been around 5 or 6 years? Very, very few. We look forward to the day when some of them last for a few decades, or maybe even a century or more. But we've got no evidence that's going to happen. And so therefore you can't be financially free, free from all sorts of control mechanisms if you aren't guaranteed of your income. But we take care of that in Wealth Warriors. Okay, we try to avoid the mistakes of the past, or if we do make a mistake, we identify it very easily, very quickly, and then we pull our horns back in and we say that was a bad deal. I wish we'd never gotten involved in that. But what we've done is we've lost $100. Okay, and typically the last two or three that we got into that were not good, about half a dozen of us, maybe 10 of us, lost $100. Everybody else, we were able then to say, sorry, we were wrong, don't do it. Because something you'll realize is we're not afraid to say we're wrong, because we're not trying to convince anybody to do this. We're not trying to hype everything up and say this is the best business you've ever seen. Okay, because we're not interested in that business, except the fact that it can give us a return. It's probably not the answer to all our prayers, but it can be part of the answer. It can be part of the portfolio that we're building. Whereas if a lot of people that are just driving one business, they've got to hype everybody up, convince them that it's the best thing ever, put all your money in, take equity out of your house, cash in your rainy day fund, cash in your pension, put as much as you can in as quickly as you can, make as much money as quickly as you can, and get out before the whole thing goes bust. We don't do that. We're not interested in that type of platform, and you'll understand, or that type of business model, and you'll see why. You'll see why in a minute. Because we can avoid the pitfalls together, and together we have safety, and that means we have time to start small and build over a period of time. So what are the benefits? 7 concrete benefits. Number one, you will never lose all your money to a scammer again, because nobody's telling you get into this platform and, like I said just now, cash in your pension, cash in all your investment funds, put it into this. This is the best thing ever. Okay, we'll never tell you that. We say get in for a minimum level, $100, couple hundred, $1,000. Okay, if I don't know anybody who's lost $100 who it bankrupted them, it completely ruined their life. So you'll never be in that position where you've lost tens of thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. Benefit 2, protect your permanent network of contacts. We've all been in this position. We see something that we like. We're so excited about it. We want to get everybody we know into this opportunity. And we go around, we run off at the mouth, we tell everybody, we convince them all to get in, put some money in. Okay. And then what we didn't realize is it's a scam, or it gets shut down, or it just goes bust. And not only have we lost our money, but our friends that we influenced them to get involved, they've lost their money, and we feel awful about it. And the fact that they hate us and we hate us, it just makes it a majority. Okay, you don't need to go through that, because we protect your permanent network of contacts. We'll see how in a minute. Benefit three, build future business much faster with far more profit. So the first business you build, it might take you 6 months to be making $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month, whatever level you're thinking of. There's going to be a period of time. But when you start building the second business, you get that one done much, much quicker. The third one, even quicker. And you'll see that in a minute. Benefit four, build one business and grow all of the businesses. We have 5 platforms at the moment. So you build one, the one that excites you, the one that become knowledgeable at, and using the Wealth Warrior system, you end up growing all 5 businesses and more in the future as we add more platforms. Benefit five, you can start small and build big over a long period of time. And I said this is a stark contrast to what a lot of other or what a lot of business gurus, business so-called leaders will want you to do. They'll all want you to get in and put in a lot of money as quickly as you can. We don't want that, and we advise you not to do that. Benefit six, you can recoup all of your loans, mortgages, recent expenditure, money that left your bank in the last 3 years, you can claim it all back again. And benefit seven, you can become free and wealthy and live an abundant life. That's particularly through one of the platforms we promote, and I'll cover that in a bit later. I'll touch on it. I won't go into much detail. So I'm going to show you an illustration now, and we have some assumptions. The first assumption is that we deal with 4 platforms. We don't. We deal with 5 platforms, but this is just an illustration. Second assumption is you have 10 people in, say, platform one with you. The third assumption is that you're making some money in that platform. You're making $1,000 per month. So let's have a look at what that looks like. So this is you, and you've introduced Alan, Bell, and Chris, 3 of your friends, and they've introduced some of their friends. And as a result of all of that business going through platform one, you are earning $1,000 a month. They're all earning different amounts, but everybody's earning money based on platform one. So we like platform one, we're making $1,000 a month. So what we do then is we add in platform two. And in platform two, you've introduced Alan, Bell, and Chris, and they've introduced exactly the same friends and exactly the same positions in platform two. So where I was saying earlier, platform one might have taken you 2 months to build with 10 people in. Some people will do it quicker, some a bit slower, it doesn't matter. But let's suppose it took you 2 months. Platform two should take you 2 days because you already have the people in place. They already trust you. You're already helping them make money. So we introduce platform two. They all get involved and they do some business. They're all making money. And also now your income jumps up because we have 2 platforms. Your income now is $2,000 per month. So that's a success. So let's try it again. Let's get platform three on the go. So you introduce Alan, Bell, and Chris to platform three, and they introduce the same friends in the same positions. And now this probably took, for 10 people, this probably took 3 or 4 hours, maybe not even that, because they're getting the hang of it now. But your income now has gone to $3,000 per month. So let's move that out of the way, make room for platform four. And exactly the same thing happens with platform four. You introduce the same people and they introduce the same people. And your income now has gone up to $4,000 per month. Now let's just assume the business doesn't grow anymore. We don't add any more platforms. They're hard to find. These good quality platforms are difficult to find. So let's suppose it's several months and we just run along like that. You're making $4,000 per month with your team of 10 people in 4 different platforms. And let's assume as well that they don't introduce any other people. But if they do, they introduce people not just to one platform, they introduce people to all 4 platforms. And I'll cover that in a minute. Again, I have to keep mentioning things and then come on to it a bit later. So let's suppose something horrible happens to platform 4. Maybe the person running it doesn't want to run it anymore. Maybe the regulators want to shut it down. So something happens to platform 4. It doesn't matter what, but platform 4 is gone. What happens to your income? It drops all the way to $3,000 per month. So you haven't lost everything. You still have a livable income based on work you've done in the past. But the absolute best part of this is you haven't lost Alan, Bell, and Chris. They are still your friends. They are still working with you in 3 other platforms. They're not upset platform 4 has gone. We've been honest with them and told them why platform 4 has gone. Okay, there's no hurt feelings. People don't feel let down. You don't feel horrible. Everything's fine. I'm ever so sorry about this cough. So The job then is to replace platform 4. So we go out and we find platform 5. We've got a platform 5 around here somewhere. There we go. So there's platform 5. And you notice the pattern now. You introduce Alan, Bell, and Chris, and they introduce the same people. Now, because this is a fourth platform, the fifth platform, technically, that we've done this with, these people know the routine now. They get involved in platform 5 in about 2 hours. So it's gone from taking 2 months to taking 2 hours now to put 10 people in your new business. But when you do that, your income then goes back up to $4,000 per month. And using this system, we can add as many platforms as we want, and we can add as many people as we want, as long as we know how to convert those people from joining you in one platform and getting them into all the other platforms. If we don't do that, then there's no point being part of Wealth Warriors. You might as well just go take your chances, make your own guesses about what's going to survive and what isn't, and and see how well that's worked for you in the past. It'll probably work that well for you in the future. So now we've got 4 platforms, and we run like that for months and years, maybe. But we will add in new platforms, and people will add more people to their permanent network. So the rules are, this is the most important rule, and people argue with me about this, and it doesn't make sense until you really think about it and get your head around it. If you're going to be part of Wealth Warriors, don't go and sign up in all these other platforms that come along. If it's a good platform, it will be there in 3 months, 6 months, a year. We will get to it at some point. Okay. There's this idea that you've got to get in first. You've got to be the first one through the door, and then try and go out and recruit all of the people all of these business gurus. Try and get them involved from the platform they're involved in, and get them into your group so you can make a lot of money. That's not a very good business model. It's never worked in the past. It would not true. It works for 1 or 2 people, not many. Because what we're relying on is that you get involved in something, a platform we're going to add to the portfolio, and then you add all of your people within a few hours. All of your people are in a new business with you. Now, if you're going to rush in there and be the first one in, what are you teaching your people to do? They're going to go sign up in all sorts of other things, all sorts of other platforms that come along, and that would completely fragment your community. The cohesiveness you're trying to build is going to build your wealth and theirs on into the future, maybe even for generations. You've lost that by going out and saying, "I want to be the first one in. I want to be the first one in." Okay, that's greed talking. And I'm sorry if that upsets anybody, but that is greed talking. And I know that that's the case because a lot of business gurus I talk to all tell me that that's what they sell. That's how they build their business so fast. They hype people up. They make sure people know, all these shiny things are available. They've got to be the first one in. They've got to build it fast, put a lot of money in. Okay. And they often say to me, we are selling greed. Doesn't matter if we're selling perfumes or electronic devices or contracts. It doesn't matter. We're selling greed. Get people to get their eyes to light up about how much money they can make, and they'll get in and do what you want. Okay. That's not the community I want to be part of. And if you do, that's fine. I wish you every luck. But if you want to be part of something that's structured, that's going to create a community or help you create a community, give you the rules to follow to build a community that's going to last for the rest of your life and feed your children and your children's children, then don't succumb to the greed. Okay, get a system, follow the system. Get a plan, follow the plan, and that's what Wealth Warriors is. We don't just go and jump into anything just because I've got dozens of emails. I've had emails today saying, "Oh, we want you to be part of our global expansion of this, and we'll give you this many free contracts." And I'm thinking, I don't want free contracts. Even if I say, well, I can get 10 people from my Wealth Warriors community and sign them up in these free contracts, that's not a sustainable business model. We can't offer that to people in 3 years' time, 5 years' time. We need something that we can start now. We're all the same. We all do exactly the same thing, and we do it again and again and again and again for years. That's a successful business, or that's how to develop a successful community. If some people get in and you can get a free contract, and some people get in and you get you don't, then it's very difficult for us to build a community like that. So anyway, I digress. I didn't finish my point very well there, so I apologize. I just sort of wandered off the topic. So one of the other rules, do sign up in all the platforms we adopt. Don't try and cherry pick, because let's suppose you say, well, I like all of the, you've got 5 platforms and I only like this one. Okay, the people you introduce might not like that one, they might like one of the other ones. Okay, so don't, if you're not signed up in that other one, you won't, well, one, you won't benefit, but two, you probably won't tell them about that one. So they don't get signed up in the one that you are excited about, but you don't tell them about the other 4, so they don't join you in anything. So that's not a very good business model at all. But if you sign up in all the platforms, um, then other people will sign up in all the platforms. You might only be excited about one, but I bet you wouldn't turn down the money that you earn from the other 4. If you do, I can recommend some good charities you can give your money to if you only want money from one platform. Do maintain lines of sponsorship. This is the most important thing we can do. When we put somebody in and we put somebody below them, we make sure that, or try to make sure that person goes below them in all of the same, in all of the opportunities. And make sure you teach the same thing. Learn a little bit about all of the platforms we adopt. You don't have to be an expert in all of them. And a lot of these platforms, over time, they get more and more and more complicated. We avoid that. We're only interested in 2 things. One is the passive income, and the second is income from building a team. All the other things they add on after that, we're really not that interested. We just want a passive income and we want team building income. Because we can help everybody in our team do that. If you've got to introduce 100 people on your front line in order to earn a bonus, I don't know many people who can do that. I know maybe half a dozen people who could do that. I don't know. It's not something we can offer people on a regular basis. I'm going to skip through some of this, but this is a good point. Remember, platforms come and go, but the community is permanent. And the platforms we have now, we've no idea if we're going to have those same platforms in 5 years' time. But what we do know is we're going to have a number of platforms that are going to be providing an income for us using passive income and team building income on into the future. But we don't know which platforms are going to be. But your community is what's permanent. You build your community and your community will be with you, whichever platforms we decide to get involved with. So we have criteria for adopting a platform, and people don't like it very often when I tell them this. They say, come and have a look at this. And I say, okay, it does this and this and this, but I can't do it because it doesn't meet all of our criteria. And they say, yeah, but people are making money. I say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't meet our criteria. Yeah, but I withdrew a million trillion pounds yesterday. I don't care. It doesn't meet our criteria. And they don't understand that I'm not trying to feed myself. I'm trying to feed a community. And you should have the same attitude, in my opinion. You don't want to just feed yourself. You want to feed your community. In order to achieve this, so it must be available everywhere in the world, and it must have a unilevel compensation plan, and people must be able to join for a very low amount of, small amount of money, $100, couple $100, somewhere in there. Because if we have 1, 2, and 3, then we can maintain lines of sponsorship, which I just said earlier is the most important thing we're going to do if we're going to build wealth warriors, if we're going to build the community. It must be based on real world applications. There's enough money games and shell games and give me $1,000 and I'll give you 2% a day and all that rubbish. Okay, there's enough of that out there. We don't need it. We just need to know what they're doing to make money. If they say they're trading, let's see the proof they're trading. If they say they're doing arbitrage, let's see the proof they're doing the arbitrage. If they say we're buying the little electronic devices, let's see the little electronic devices and so on. Okay, so it's got to be a real world application. We must be able to verify the company's legal status if there is a company. Sometimes these days it's not companies, it's just a smart contract. But if there is a company, we've got to be able to verify it, make sure they're registered, insured, got good startup capital, registered their formation properly, the repute of management, their premises. If they've got $1 billion under management, assets under management, then they're not going to be operating from a 2-bedroom flat above a chip shop in Croydon. Okay, they're going to have proper business premises, and then we'll be able to see the proper business records, or the records for that premises, who owns it, and how much is it worth, and what size is it, and so on, and what facilities has it got. So we want to check as much as we can, because we don't want to be making mistakes. It takes time and money and effort to make mistakes. If we commit to a platform, we want to know it at least stands a chance of being a legitimate company that's going to be there doing what they say they're going to do. I often get invited to meet the CEO or the business owner. Sometimes they answer all my questions. The compensation plan must be viable and sustainable, because anybody can promise anything, but if it's not sustainable, it's just smoke and mirrors. And the whole membership of Wealth Warriors must be able to get behind the project. So that's kind of what we're looking for. It's got to be something real and tangible that people can get involved with. If it's something unethical, maybe it's gambling, or if there's elements of money disappearing off all over the world and nobody can track it properly, then money laundering might be involved. Okay, so a lot of our members wouldn't get involved in that, so we just say no to that automatically. It's better to say no to something that you're not sure of than in trading. We have an expression that says it's better to be out of a trade wishing you were in than in a trade wishing you were out. If you're in a trade wishing you were out, you're losing money. If you're in a trade, if you're out of a trade wishing you were in, yes, you're not making money, but you're not losing money. And that's the same with some of these platforms. It's better to be out of them if you're not sure, rather than in them and you're not sure. So we have 5 platforms. One of them is called the Republic of Old Souls, and as part of the freedom movement, and you can register as a member for free. Having registered, you can learn all about the different services that are available to recoup your mortgages, recoup your bank payments, create currency, become free from the control matrix of the world, of governments. Okay, so you can learn all of that. And then when you actually decide you want to do something, and it's paid services, so you investigate what you want to do, find out how to do it, then you pay some money and you start down the process of doing it. For example, mortgage recoupment. So you pay some money and then you fill in the forms and start things going. Okay, so you can become a member. When you pay, you're then a paid member. If you want to introduce other people, you apply to become an advocate. And if you want to introduce other advocates, you apply to become an advocate organizer. So there's all these different options. And when you log in under any of those guises, then you are given different menu options based on. So the site operates pretty much the same way, but there are different menu options for whichever role you are logged in as. Okay, the one that most people like is the infinite money protocol. So you claim back money you spent 3 years ago, 2 years and 3 years ago, and you receive that money in, you put it in your bank and you spend it again. And then next year you can recoup that money and you get the money back the following year, put it in your bank and spend it again. So the following year you can claim it back again. Sorry, not claim it back, recoup it. If I say the word claim, I apologize. I shouldn't be using that word because financial institutions have particular connotations with that word, or that word has certain connotations. Okay, I don't mean to use it. I mean to use the word recoupment. So please forgive me if I've said it wrong. Sometimes my brain can't keep up with my tongue. BitHarvest is a great business that produces electronic devices called boosters. And what they do is you buy a booster, they keep the booster for you, they put it into a controlled environment where it's clean and dry and no main spikes on the main supply, and just a good place for a piece of electronics to sit and work uninterrupted for many, many years. Once they plug that booster into their booster farm, it connects up via the magic of the internet across a VPN, and it starts talking to mining rigs in mining farms around the world. And what it does with those mining rigs is it helps them produce more Bitcoin. So if you've got a mining rig that's producing $10 a day of Bitcoin, okay, that's somewhere, anywhere in the world, they're producing $10 worth of Bitcoin today. And then tomorrow they connect up to one of our boosters, they'll make at least $20 of Bitcoin. maybe as much as $40 worth of Bitcoin. Now, these are just arbitrary figures. I don't know what type of machines they're running, how old they are, what protocols they're running, and so on and so forth. But um, but we help them make more Bitcoin, and what they do is give us part of that profit back, which is good for them. They're getting something for nothing. It doesn't cost them anything at all for their machines to connect to our boosters. They make more Bitcoin and they give us some of that. It's a brilliant system. So you can build up your portfolio of these electronic devices and earn more and more and more and more Bitcoin every single day. And it's paid to you in Bitcoin every single day. Bitnex. Bitnex, some of you know this, some of you don't. It used to be called Cryptex. In fact, there are dozens of companies that used to be called Cryptex. And this one, they got fed up of being associated with all the other Cryptex businesses, particularly some that had sort of a dodgy past. So they just changed the name to Bitnex. And basically, with Bitnex, what we do is called DeFi staking. In fact, it's hybrid DeFi staking. And the reason it's called that is that DeFi staking is where you take some money, some of your money, and you put it in an account somewhere where you can't touch it for a period of time. And people use that money in various platforms, maybe exchanges, things like that. And they use your money to pay for things. And then when they put the money back in, they give you a little bit of profit. So you're lending, you're staking your money, but the process is lending that money for other people to make money, and you get part of that profit back into your staked account. Well, DeFi hybrid staking is slightly different because we don't take our money and put it into the account. We take our money, we put it into a smart contract, and the smart contract, based on the strength of your money being available, arranges a bank loan, and that bank loan is what we stake. So we're not, if we put in $100, we don't have $100 working for us. We have $30,000 working for us. Some contracts with that $100 will be $40,000. Okay, so you purchase a smart contract and you can you'll receive a huge return over 2, 3, 5, or 7 years. Typically, $100 if you do something semi-intelligent with it, put it into an ISA or something, over 2 years you'll make $10, maybe 15 if you're lucky. With this, if you put $100 into a 2-year contract, you'll make at least $20,000. 3 years will give you $35,000. I'm not going to tell you the 5 years and 7 years because you'll think I'm just trying to convince you of something. I'm not, so I'm not going to tell you. And you can also buy packs of contracts. You can buy 15 contracts for the price of 10. So for $1,000, you can get 15 contracts. So you can work out yourself based on the figures I've just told you what you would get for 15 contracts instead of one contract. And that only costs you $1,000 to achieve that. Viralio is, excuse me, is a crypto trading AI system. So Viralio is the system that exchanges information to your own exchange. Maybe you've got an exchange with Binance or Kraken or Bitfinex or Coinbase or whoever. Okay, at the moment we've only got 2 exchanges, but in the future we're going to have a lot more, 20 maybe. I think 20 will probably be enough. And behind it we have an AI engine called Octavia AI, and Octavia AI analyzes the market to just so much information, so much depth of information, all the current information, all the reports being produced by the Federal Reserve, by the Bank of England, Bank of Japan, financial reports from some of the largest companies in the world, government decisions about jobs and about borrowing and about I don't know, investments and infrastructure projects and everything, just everything gets fed into Octavia. And she says, I think based on that, this cryptocurrency is going to go up or go down and so on, and passes the signal to Viralio, that passes the signal then to your exchange, which places the trade automatically. And then later, when the trend is finished, then Octavia will say that's enough, and Viralio will then close that trade, and you'll have made some profit. So that's kind of the plan, and they're still working on finalizing Viralio, getting the last few bugs ironed out. So we're hoping it's going to come back online tomorrow. That's the plan. I might have an update for you in the Q&A session. I'll have to look at my messages. E-estate, again, a great business, is based on a real world project for tokenizing real estate. Now, tokenizing real estate isn't new. The first property ever to be tokenized was done in 2015. That's 10 years ago now. So this is old hat. In the world of crypto, anything that happened more than about 2 years ago is just old hat. It's just sort of ancient information. So the fact that we've been tokenizing property for 10 years really means it's kind of tried and trusted technology. So we work with a company that tokenizes this real estate for us. It tells us how much it's going to cost for us to get in, how much we're going to make every day, how long for, and so this information appears on the e-estate website. You go there and buy as much or as little of one of these tokenized properties as you want to. We have apartments, we've got villas, we've got houses, we've got real estate plots, we've got businesses, we've got commercial premises, we've got commercial development plots, and so on. So there's lots of different options for you to buy real estate. And the great news is a few great things. One is you can buy real estate anywhere in the world while you're sat at home drinking a coffee in your pajamas, maybe. You don't need to go out and you don't need to know everything about the whole marketplace or everything about that local marketplace in Australia or in Florida or in Dubai. You just read the information presented. Yes, I want a few $1,000s of that property, or I want a few $100s of that property, and you just buy it. It's as simple as that. And you start making money with that property on day two. You don't have to worry about putting tenants in there, looking after the tenants, making sure they pay, keeping them happy, repairing toilets. None of that. I don't know if you've been a landlord, but it's a pain. And this is just buy a little bit of property, sit back, and the money just comes into your account day after day after day after day after day with no effort on your part. That's a great passive income. And there's team building on all of the above adopted platforms have programs for additional rewards for taking part in team building activities. I'm not going to go into that in any detail at all, just to say that it's optional. You don't have to do it, and it doesn't affect your ability to earn passively from these platforms. But what I will add to that is the reason most people don't build teams in some of these platforms, even though there's great rewards for building these teams, is because of the thing I said earlier. You introduce your friends to something, it all goes horribly wrong. You lose money, they lose money, they hate you, and you think that's fair because you hate you too. You don't need to worry about that with what we're doing. All of these different team building options, really, you can relax and say, well, yes, I know that this is going to be a good thing for me to introduce my people to. Also, we're not going to be recommending they go nuts and put a lot of money in. So even if, as I said in the illustration, if one of the platforms does fail for whatever reason, it's not the end of the world. People don't come around, you don't get pitchforks at the gate to lynch you or anything like that. So more people now are going sort of dusting off their team building aspirations in these platforms. They're saying, actually, yes, I do know a couple of people in real estate who would love to have a look at this. I do know a couple of people who are interested in Bitcoin. I'll introduce them. I'll show them what we're doing with Bit Harvest. Okay, so people are getting into team building a lot more based on the Wealth Warriors system, because you're not in danger of losing your permanent network of people. So I'm not going to go through Kinesis Money. I did promise you that I will be setting up a meeting specifically for Kinesis Money. It's an online banking system. It's the best one I've ever seen. I'm not going to ask you to trust me on that. I'm going to get the guy to come and do a presentation. Hopefully some of you will be able to make it as well. I'll publish it with as much notice as I can. Regardless of that, I will be recording it, and that recording will be available to you all. I think Kinesis Money is the online banking system that I think we need to move forward with these large amounts of money we're going to be making with BitNex, and with Republic of Old Souls. I just think that's really the this is the way to go. So I'm going to skip through this, but I will point out one of the things I really love. It's got a referral program as well, so we maintain lines of sponsorship in that as well. But you get gold and silver rewards up to 2% back on your card that you can spend. You can spend your money in any one of many dozens of cryptocurrencies and one of many dozens of fiat currencies, and you can also spend your gold and silver if you want to. Okay, so back to Wealth Warriors. We run a Telegram supergroup, and people get confused by that. All a supergroup is instead of when you go into a Telegram chat room, all of the chat is just about that subject. With a supergroup, you go into the supergroup, and there are different topics for all the different things. So we have a supergroup because we have one platform, one topic, which is just a general discussion called an open forum, another one for BitNex, another one for Republic of Old Souls, another one for Viralio, and so on. So we call it a super group. It's nothing magical. It's just, I heard somebody call it that. I believe that's what it's actually called. So I've stuck with that. So if you are watching this by video or watching this here today for the first time and you're not part of that supergroup, make sure your upline adds you. The criteria are that you need to be in at least one of the platforms we promote, and you must have purchased in at least one of those platforms. Okay, so the person that introduced you will vouch for you, if you like. They'll say, yes, they bought a booster, or yes, they bought this contract or whatever. And then we will add them to the supergroup, where you can be kept up to date with all sorts of information. We hold this Zoom that I'm doing now, every Sunday at 10 o'clock UK time. And I say UK time because as the clocks in your time zone change, just be aware that it's 10 o'clock UK time. Okay, regardless of what time zone what time it is for you in your time zone. So attend yourself and bring new people to make sure your people attend. It's a shortcut. So bring new people and make sure they attend. That really is the fastest the fastest growth you can have is to come along yourself to understand it better and bring people along so that they can understand it better. When you reach a critical mass of a certain number of people that are all involved in Wealth Warriors that understand what we're doing, your community will take off. I mean, literally take off. It will grow so fast it'll make your head spin. So you need to get that critical mass of people on a regular basis coming to these Zoom calls and watching the videos and introducing people themselves. So attend the Zoom calls of the platforms. We publish the schedule in the Telegram group. You can also join the Telegram groups or Facebook groups or whatever it is for these other platforms. You don't need to go to every single Zoom call. Some of them have a Zoom call every evening. I suggest if you went to 5 Zoom calls a day, you'd be completely, you wouldn't be able to do anything by the end of a week of doing that, I think. But do enough, get some knowledge, get some understanding, and take some people with you. For the Republic of Old Souls, join as a member and work your way through the webinars and books at your own pace. You will find that there is a series of videos or webinars, recorded webinars, called a roadmap. So get through that first roadmap as quickly as you can. So what do you do now? Get the referral links for all the platforms from the person who invited you to this presentation or sent you the link to this video. Just phone them up, say, okay, I'm interested in this. Give me all your referral links, and then go and register in all those opportunities. Make a note of what your referral links are. And if it's e-estate, you need to request to become an agent, which is basically an affiliate. Having requested it, you then need to fill out some information and agree to a subscription charge of $9 a month. And once you've done that, then you get your referral link. With some of the other platforms, you get a referral link anyway, just by joining. With Republic of Old Souls, you get a referral link after you've asked to become an affiliate or an affiliate, sorry, not an affiliate, an advocate or an advocate organizer. So, and I've got a little text document with all of my referral links in there. With BitNex, you have access to a free landing page. And I think we'll cover that in a few seconds if I've got time, if I don't skip over it too fast. So then what you do is you take those links and you pass them on to your existing frontline members. Make a minimum payment into all of the opportunities. Because what you want to do is to have a kind of a balance between all of the different opportunities. You don't want to have 1,000 in one because you like that, and 100 in each of the other 4 because you don't know very much or whatever. Because if the one you've got most of your money in is the one that goes bust or disappears, okay, being part of Wealth Warriors wouldn't have benefited you at all. So get into all the platforms and invest in all of the platforms. Obviously, the one you like, you're going to do more, but don't do massive. Don't make it too lopsided, because I wouldn't want you to regret that. And then ask your introducer to be added to the Wealth Warriors Telegram group, attend a Zoom call, or watch the video for each platform. And as new platforms are added, so you get in and you're in all 5 platforms, you've introduced all of your people into 5 platforms, and then we bring in platform 6. Make sure you get the referral link from your upline and join as quickly as possible. So it depends how far away where you are in the community, how long it's going to take, but don't hold it up yourself. Don't be the one that slows things down. And if you need to, phone your introducer and say, come on, I'm waiting for this link. Go get it for me. And then pass your referral link to your existing team, and then get on a presentation for that new platform as quickly as you can. I think I'm just going to make it to the end of the call. So the way to grow your Wealth Warriors community is to bring more people to the Wealth Warriors Zoom calls, or by sharing this video, because I'll be quite honest with you, I can't explain Wealth Warriors to people on a one-to-one basis. I just can't. I don't know anybody who can. And if you can, I'm very, very impressed. Imagine you say to somebody, right, listen, you're interested in Bitcoin. Let me show you about Bit Harvest. You get in, you do this, you buy some boosters. Brilliant. Okay. And then you say, and now let me show you something else. And then after you go, let me show you something else. Okay. It's very difficult to explain to them why you want them to get into all 5 platforms without, as soon as they get into one, you say, listen, this is part of a bigger picture. It's called Wealth Warriors. Come along on Sunday and listen to this crazy English guy explain to you what we're trying to do. Okay. Or here's a video. Watch it. You'll like it. It's only an hour long. I know. If we could, we'd do it a lot shorter than that, but it's hard to do. There's a lot of information. And then you phone them up the next day and you say, what do you think of Wealth Warriors? Brilliant. Okay. Let's get you into all these other platforms. You understand how it works now. Let's get on a Zoom call. Get you into all these other platforms. Here's all my links. Okay, you can't do that without telling them about Wealth Warriors, and you can't do that without, or the best way of doing that rather, is to get them onto a Zoom call or send them the video. That's what I do. I don't try and explain it to them. You only need to promote 1 or 2 platforms, and then of course, as they learn about the other platforms and learn the principles of being a wealth warrior, then they know that they should explore these other platforms. And they might like one of the other platforms. You haven't even introduced them to that. They like this other one so much better. Okay, so don't limit them. Make sure they've got access to all the different platforms, because your decision might not be, it probably won't be their decision. I know some people who absolutely rave about Bit Harvest, best thing since sliced bread. And I know some people who only do it as sort of an obligation. What they're really excited about is Cryptex. And I know other people, kind of a little bit untrusting of Cryptex, but they love Veralio. Or they do when it works properly. Okay, so don't judge other people. Give them all the information they need. Let them decide. So what I meant was, don't judge for other people. Okay, marketing and landing pages. We're going to be building something for Wealth Warriors, and it's going to include a pre-made but customizable landing page. So right now, we talk to people about whichever platform we're most excited about. In the future, we're going to be able to lead straight in with Wealth Warriors. There will be a registration system. They go there. There'll be words about Wealth Warriors, a video about Wealth Warriors. You'll be able to keep track of all the people that are in Wealth Warriors with you, and in all the platforms with you. There'll be an internal communication system. You can send people emails or internal messages. You can pull up a little report. So who's with me in Wealth Warriors, but they haven't yet bought a contract in BitNex. Again, it'll come up with a list of names, and you push one button, send one email that goes out to everybody. So that sort of thing is going to make communication in our system so much better for you. It's going to make it easier for you to build your Wealth Warriors business, which in turn builds all of your platforms, which in turn builds your wealth. I said you can get a BitNex landing page, and I'm not going to dwell on this too much, but you can always come back to this video. Any of these videos about the presentation has this in here. So you just copy this, and at the end here where it says your BitNex wallet ID, change that for your BitNext wallet ID, which you can find once you've registered in BitNext. It appears at the top of the page. And that's a landing page you can send people to, as opposed to sending them just to a registration page that says, enter your name. Okay, and they think, why am I here? What's going on? What am I signing up for? Landing pages are so much better. And in your eState back office, there's a customizable landing page. And you can modify it and you send the link out. When you send the link out anyway, even if you don't modify it, people aren't going to go to a registration page. They're going to go to a landing page where they can learn about eState. And then when they say, yes, I'm interested, they'll push a button and register in your team. We have all the information you could possibly want for building your different businesses. In BitHarvest, we've got a Telegram group called BitHarvest Info Group. In BitNext, we have a boards page. And again, I'm not going to slow this down. I'm going to say, come back to the video and make a note of that. You can register there. You get access for free. At the end of the free week, you can, they'll ask you, do you want to just maintain, or you can only access one board from here, not here on, because you're reverting to a non-trial stage, and just select BitNext or Cryptex, depends how they've worded it. And then you've forever got access to all the information you need to build your BitNext business. The website to go to register as a member is matrixfreedom.org. You can go there. There's so much information, it's unbelievable. Viralio, if you need help with Viralio, there's a trusted advisor system. I've also created a couple of videos available on my YouTube channel. Once you're in the Telegram group, you can go back, scroll back through and find the videos posted in there. And there's a knowledge base in the eState back office with PDF documents and videos, contracts, examples of contracts, also just everything you could possibly want is in the back office under the knowledge base. So a quick reminder, we're building a solid foundation on which we can base our financial futures. We don't want to be dependent on anybody else's decisions, anybody else's promises. Okay, we're doing it for ourselves. We only work with companies that are in it for the long term. As you know, as best we can tell, we have made some mistakes, but we're not. We don't try and force our mistakes. We admit it's a mistake and cut our losses and run. We only work with companies that are above board, as far as we can tell again. We build a large asset, which in turn will deliver us a large income. So the asset could be boosters, it could be contracts, it could be a large trading fund in Viralio. Okay, so whatever it is, we want a lot of it. And that means we can start small and build up big over time. Only platforms that meet our rigorous criteria are even considered. I do upset a lot of people by telling them why, you know, their much beloved platform isn't suitable for us. But if it isn't, it isn't. You can't force it. And the point is, we apply our rules to this industry to achieve our outcomes. We don't want to be beholden to anybody else because they don't have our interests at heart. The only person who has your best interests at heart is you. And hopefully you feel as part of this community, we are supportive of each other's best interests. So between us, we're after our own outcomes. Final words of warning in my last few seconds. It's important to remain safe on the internet and in the world of online opportunities at all times. So in order to do that, do not share your password or other credentials with anyone. Excuse me. Where it's available, set up 2FA on your accounts. And I think all of these platforms do have some form of 2FA system. Sometimes they'll send you an email, so it verifies your email every time. Sometimes it's what's the word? An authenticator app on your phone. So if it's there, set it up. Don't leave that to chance. And the reason the reason I'm so hot on that is it's the only part of the security setup of your account that you have control over. The username and password is under the company's control. And I don't think it comes as a shock for you to realize that even some of the biggest and best companies and organizations in the world have been hacked. Don't rely on what the company is providing for you by way of security, where you can add your own security that can't be hacked. So set up your own Google 2FA. Back up your passwords and your 2FA codes in a secure location. Write it down. Keep it safe. If you've got a safe, put it in the safe. Make sure the executors of your will, your living will, your power of attorney, or your beneficiaries have access to this information in the event of your incapacitation or death. Personally, I've got a little text file. I like text files because they can be read on pretty much any platform, any operating system and so on. You don't need the right software running. All of these operating systems can read a text file, and it tells people what codes to use, what where to look, how to log in, how to I don't know, add some more contracts, for example, how to withdraw, which is the most important part, where the money goes, how to get it onto my Visa card, everything that people would need to know if I'm not available, if I'm hit by a bus and in hospital for 2 years or something, okay, then my family can still have access to the millions of Bitcoin I've earned over the next 10 years. So I just think that's a wise thing to do. Make sure that information is available to your beneficiaries. So welcome to Wealth Warriors. We are financial freedom fighters. We're taking the world by storm with a phone or just a PC and our own intelligence, if you like, our own brains. We're not relying on somebody else to come up with a good idea and then convince us to do it. We're using our intelligence to create the security of our own financial future. So get back to the person who invited you on this call or referred you to this video. They are ready and waiting to help you avoid scams, protect your permanent network, and create immense personal wealth. That's the mission. Should you choose to accept it, that's the mission. So I'm going to stop the share, come back to the room. I'm going to thank you all for your attention this evening in the UK. And I'm going to switch off the recording. Just to close though, don't forget we do the same thing on a Sunday evening, 10 o'clock UK time. Also on a Wednesday evening, 10 o'clock UK time, we do another Zoom Wealth Warriors meeting. Same time, same channel, same link. It's all in the Telegram group, but we spend a lot more time going through each of the 5 platforms. We don't cover nearly as much of the Wealth Warriors stuff. It's just an introduction, and then the 5 platforms in quite a bit of depth. So that meeting isn't suitable for bringing new people. The meeting to bring new people is this one. This video is the one that's suitable for new people, not the video to do with the platforms. It'll just confuse everyone. They won't really understand why we're promoting 5 platforms all in one video. It just gets confusing. So with that, thank you so much, guys, for your attention. If you've watched the video right the way to the end, thank you for that. I appreciate it. I do look at the stats to see who's watched it and how far they watched it. And it's always good if they get past the first 2 or 3 minutes, because, you know, it gives me a warm fuzzy inside. So that's it, guys. God bless, and I will see you all again on the next call.
I want to see you win. I want to see you absolutely smash every single dream you have. I want to see you overcome all of the barriers you face, and I want to see you succeed. I'm your biggest fan, your top supporter, and I'll be with you every single step of the way. You're destined for greatness, with or without me, and I want to see you achieve. Your potential is limitless, and your determination is inspiring. Keep striving for your goals, and I'll continue to cheer you on.